The James Show Podcast.
My next story, listen, I need you to be a little limber in this one. I need you to loosen up, and I need you to tear down your walls for a little bit. Be vulnerable and listen, and don't fight me on this, okay? But I saw this story from the Dallas Express. Cops in Alvarado busted a cockfighting ring. Yeah. Oh, no. People are abusing chickens. Now, I'm not in favor of abusing animals. Don't misunderstand me, and I'm going to keep putting caveats around all of this because people aggressively misunderstand me every time I talk about this in talk radio. But the more I've looked into it, the more I believe that cockfighting should be legal. Of course it should be legal. Now, there are 18 different angles to go at this, but I'm trying to go to the one that I think would work with you the most. So let's talk about the chickens themselves. When you talk about most people that think cockfighting should be illegal, they're concerned about chickens being abused, right? You're worried about chicken abuse. You want chickens to live the longest, fullest, happiest life possible, free from conflict or from getting chopped up by other chickens, right? So, okay, let's start with this here. The truth is that almost every chicken that's raised by humans will be killed by humans for human convenience, right? They're in service of us. So it's not like there's some perfect third way where chickens get to live out in nature and experience their full life, and they get to find their chicken soulmate and start a little chicken family and just live out the rest of their lives and whatever with no real conflict. The truth is, chickens are animals that proliferate only because humans make them proliferate. So number one, you're welcome, chickens. But the chickens that are raised, for meat and for eggs, the ones that we actually use legally, that you take advantage of, I assume you eat chicken and eggs, right? Well, they all get killed in the process. They die very young, and they're subjected to unnatural regimens to make them plump and tender. Chickens that lay eggs get killed at the end of just 1 or 2 years of egg production. Their less desirable meat just gets worked into cat food and chicken nuggets. The males at the egg farm mostly get killed off as soon as they're identified as male. Have you ever seen the little chick grinder where they throw the male chicks in? Because they're no good. Is that better than letting them grow up and live for a few years and then die in a fight? Because if they were out in chicken nature, they would probably die in a cockfight anyway. That's how most male chickens would die if they were left to their own devices. And you can't say nature is immoral or unethical. So if we're just putting them into a ring and letting them do what they would naturally do anyway, it's kind of hard to call that unethical. But let's go back to the legal chicken world. Because according to Purdue University, 8 billion chickens, that's with a B, are eaten in the USA every year. That's about 22 million dead chickens a day. So if you're worried about the suffering and death of chickens, you better be a vegetarian, or already your argument's very suspicious. 22 million dead chickens a day in the service of humanity. And it's not like they die of natural causes. It's not like they get a back massage until they slowly pass out in a bed in hospice with their family around them, little chicken family. By contrast, if you're a gamecock, you don't ever fight until you're fully mature. You're sexually mature. So prime ages for fighting cocks are actually 2 to 3 years old, which is longer than all the chickens that die in humanity's service, the egg-laying chickens and the chickens that we grow for meat. So already right there, you see that chickens raised for cockfighting actually have a longer life. Did you know they have a better lifestyle? The chickens that we eat, the chickens that lay eggs or become a nugget, they sit in these little bitty cages. Their feet never touch the ground. Their little feathers never feel the sunlight. So the chickens raised for cockfighting get to live longer. They get to live better lives. They get to exercise. They get to see the sun. They get to feel the wind on their little chicken face. And, whether that's any consolation to them, whether they can even know the difference, I can't say I care a whole lot about them, because chickens aren't mammals. They don't have fully developed nervous systems like we do. They don't have emotions. They don't really have much of a memory. They don't develop emotional attachments and bonds. But there's no difference. Legal chickens and gamecocks, they're both destined to die in the service of humanity. So why is moralizing about the alleged cruelty of cockfighting, why is moralizing about that? Why is that parochial hypocrisy? Cockfighting also has deep cultural roots. It's a pastime that's followed by people who are, around here, mostly minority groups in America and most Western European cultures. Is this enough to make moralizing against it suspicious? Is this racist? Oh, you're just picking on this small, disparate group, this culture that's different that you don't understand. Just because it's different doesn't make it worse. You're so open-minded about differences when it comes to people who want to, death to America or free Palestine or make their wives dressed up like the Imperial Guard from Return of the Jedi, but you're upset that they might make chickens fight, and chickens in nature fight, so they're doing something natural. So that's another thing that's suspicious about the trumped-up outrage over the fact that a small handful of chickens die in a blood sport. But if you don't have any problems with the way we kill millions of chickens every day, but you're gravely suspicious of cockfighting, then maybe there's a cultural bigotry you have there. And I'm not saying this is a racial thing. This is just these people have a different worldview and a different set of values that you don't share, and so what? You should outlaw it just because you don't understand it, because you don't agree with it? That is a form of bigotry. That's what intolerance is. I don't go out and actively pursue chicken fighting, and if there was some chickens fighting around the corner, I'm not sure if I would even watch it. But I'm not going to go tell other people that they're wrong for having a different opinion on chicken fighting. But more importantly, this argument's really inconsistent with any claim to the multicultural stance. And that's something that should appeal to both left and right. To believe this is to believe that millions of your human neighbors are evil-minded just because they partake in this, just because they are part of a culture where this blood sport is practiced. It's disrespectful to your neighbor. It's disrespectful to their heritage. It's disrespectful to their traditions or the place that they grew up in. It really is just bigotry. So your objection to cockfighting boils down to mere aesthetic annoyance. You just think it's ugly. You think it's gross. That's not a good enough reason to put your neighbors in prison. Nobody's talking about forcing you to watch cockfighting, but if other people are into it, why not let them be into it? You don't want to go watch musicals. You don't want to go to Drag Queen Story Hour. No one's making you go, right? So why don't you do the same for them? This is what we call freedom. Freedom obliges you to advocate for the acceptance of different cultures, even the ones you disagree with, even the ones that you think are unacceptable. So we raise millions of chickens to die in our service, 22 million every day. None of them live as long as any of these gamecocks that were just busted in Alvarado. The chickens are lucky that we let them live as long as they do. But this is a story of freedom. Because, listen, I have no interest in cockfighting. I don't want to see it. But also, you have to ask yourself the question, if you died and you went up to the pearly gates and God said you're going to be reincarnated as a chicken, would you choose to go back and be one of the legal chickens that's going to end up as a nugget at McDonald's? Or would you choose to be a gamecock? You would be insane to not choose being a gamecock. You yourself would prefer the lifestyle, the longevity, the standard of living of being a gamecock. And look, if you're a pro and you get through a few fights, guess what? Those are the only chickens that die of natural causes, aside from a handful of pets, which you may have known some people that actually keep chickens as pets and don't eat them or do anything. But I always like to also, my foundation, so much of my philosophy is based on the founding fathers. Cockfighting was practiced by Benjamin Franklin, George Washington, Alexander Hamilton, Thomas Jefferson, Andrew Jackson, Abraham Lincoln, and you do not know better than them. Just because you dislike something doesn't mean it should be illegal. Just because you find something distasteful doesn't mean it should be illegal. And just like, I may not agree with you with what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. I may not agree with the way you treat your chickens, but I will defend to the death your right to fight them. I don't know, that's kind of a stretch. But if you have any comments on this, 800-288-9227. Let's go to the phones. We'll start with, James. James in Stephenville. What's up, other James? Your thoughts on my cockfighting exposition?
I appreciate the segment. I think it's a big misunderstood habit or form of entertainment that a lot of Americans don't understand. I mean, it's been around forever, generationals. My grandfather did it when I was a kid. I've seen how well these birds are taken care of. I've seen how loved these birds are from these owners. The bloodlines go hundreds of years old. There's line breeding, crossbreeding. There is books, thick books of bloodlines, markings of how they bred these birds. The grooming, the quality of feed, the vitamins, the antibiotics, the nutrition. It's just so misunderstood by so many people. They see it as a cruel sport, but yet they're sitting there eating a drumstick
Good point.
They don't have an idea of really how well loved these birds are. They don't make these birds fight. These birds are not trained to fight. These birds are conditioned, no different than a sprinter in the Olympics. They work out, but that fight instinct is not optional in these birds. They are born that way. They are not your pet birds. These birds are a game fowl. They're a jungle fowl. They fight naturally. And like you said earlier in the segment, whether they are in the wild or in a pen being fought as a sport, they are still going to fight to the death. That is what they are. You know, you see these segments, the Alvarado example, where they got all these birds got captured, and I've read things where they're looking for donations, and they got like 70 birds in cages, and they're trying to figure out what to do with them. I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen to those birds.
They're going to get killed, right?
Be killed. Yeah, absolutely.
No, and you know what? That's something I hadn't gotten to. I just kind of ran out of time in the last segment. In all my years of being on talk radio, whenever you hear about these cockfighting rings getting busted, so many times they'll even tell you, like in the article on the first run of the story, that the local animal control was called in and they euthanized all the birds. It's like, wait, you don't want these chickens to suffer, so you just went and killed them?
Yeah, and they say stuff like, the emotional damage was too much. They couldn't be rehabilitated. I'm like, well, I have no clue.
I think what would change most people's minds that don't agree with us already, James and Stephenville, is if they ever spent a significant amount of time with a chicken. I grew up on a horse ranch, and we had chickens for probably most of that. And they really are dumb. Like, and I don't mean that like I'm making fun of them, like, oh, you can't do integral equations, but I mean, like, they don't develop emotional bonds. Like my cat, when I get home, will come up and rub on my leg. My dog will wag his tail when he's happy to see me. My dog will be sad when I yell at him. Chickens don't have that. Chickens, like mammals, I'm against fighting that, but if you're a bird, if you're a reptile, like if we had an alligator fighting ring, wouldn't we all watch that? Wouldn't that be pretty epic, right?
I mean, we watch shark attacks all the time and all. I mean, there's a we're in a society now, though, where, we try to humanize our emotions onto everything. So we feel like there's this big emotional bond going on.
Yeah, no, and that's a good way, the humanizing it. Like, I think we all grew up watching Disney cartoons, and so we think like animals are just little humans that can't express themselves. They're just little furry people just like us. And some of them do have complex emotional bonds that they can form.
They do.
Not chickens.
Absolutely.
Chickens are dumb as hell. And thank you very much, James. I'm going to move on to the next one here, but that's a good point. We tend to humanize these people. And, the more I talk about this, the more I kind of, like, maybe we need to expand the animal fighting situation. But who wouldn't like to watch a hippo fight an alligator? Wouldn't you like to see? Yeah, that'd be great. Let's go to Jason in Frisco. Hey, Jason, you're on WBAP. Your thoughts on cockfighting?
So a few things about making this whole thing legal. Are we going to regulate the activity?
Very little regulation.
So it's not going to be regulated, because I don't think it's so much about animal cruelty that why it's illegal. It's more or less the criminal activity that goes along with it. The gambling, money laundering, prostitution, drug activity, all that.
Prostitution?
Oh, what do you? Yeah.
Cockfighting leads to prostitution?
It brings in all kinds of criminal elements.
Well, that's new to me.
If it's going to be underground, every bad element is going to be there.
Well, that's an argument for making it legal.
So, okay, but you don't want to regulate it. So how can it be legal?
Well, because if it's already legal, they will keep the prostitutes out themselves because they don't want the cops getting involved. Just like we don't have a bunch of cops at my kid's high school football game. I'm sure there's a lot of lonely men in the stands that would be willing to pay for their services. But
we have to trust the people that do this underground to regulate this thing. Okay.
No, but it wouldn't be underground. But listen, you're talking to a libertarian. I don't care about gambling or prostitution anyway.
I'm a libertarian too, so that brings me to my second point.
Okay.
I don't really want to watch cockfighting. I don't have any interest in it, but I do like to gamble. I like to table gamble. I like to play poker. I like to go to the casino. So if cockfighting is legal, because it's only would be legal so people could gamble there, nobody's also going to watch cockfighting for any other reason to gamble. I want poker legal in Texas. I want blackjack legal. I want to play craps.
Deal. So, I'll sign up for that.
Chicken. So if we're gonna do that, I want to do what I want to do. So
sounds good to me. I love that. Well, I think we're back in agreement. All right, Jason in Frisco. I'm in the Kroger in Midlothian. And over here on the back wall in the coolers is thousands of dead chickens, legally so. Now, they only lived 7 weeks. That's how long, about 40 days to 7 weeks. Or my kids would say, oh, how long they live? About 6-7 weeks? Oh, 6-7. I said the secret word. But when you talk about gamecocks, they live, 3 years before they even start fighting. If they win a few matches, then they get to live the rest of their lives and die of natural causes. They might live up to 10 years. So the question is, well, what's more cruel, killing something after 7 weeks or maybe letting it live 10 years? And if you had your choice, if you were going to be reincarnated as a chicken, if God gave you a second chance on this earth, it's like you're not quite ready for heaven yet, but you're going to be reincarnated as a chicken, would you rather be one of the legal chickens that's going to turn into a nugget? It's going to end up at Chick-fil-A? Or would you rather be a gamecock? You would be crazy not to choose gamecock. So with that, to the phones we go. Bob in Irving, you're next up on WBAP. Your thoughts, sir?
Based on your premises, ask you a couple questions. Would you be opposed to dogfighting?
Yes.
Okay, based on your premises, you should not be.
Why not?
And let me take it one step further.
Well, you don't understand my premise then. Why don't you tell me what my premise is, sir?
Well, I was listening to him for the last 20 minutes. I don't think I have to take the time to regurgitate those based on cultural issues, etc.
How long does the average dog live as a pet for like you and me, the legal dog world?
I don't know what the average is. I know some dogs can live to 14, 15, etc.
Exactly. How long does the average dog live in the dog fighting world?
I have no idea.
Well, would it be safe to assume it's less than the average age for a non-dog fighting dog? So dog fights, the answer is yes. You're right. We are kind of running out of time. So dog fighting gives dogs a worse standard of living, a shorter lifespan, and a level of suffering that doesn't even exist in the legal dog world. Plus, they're mammals. They can actually develop human bonds or human-like emotions and bonds and whatnot. And chickens just aren't capable of it.
Every night I go in to feed them, they come to me. They squat down right next to me. They want to be picked up. They show a little more emotion than you're giving them.
How big's their brain? About the size of the end of my pinky finger here?
What's that?
How big's the brain of a chicken?
I don't think it matters.
I think it definitely matters. Look, it's the same reason I'm okay with fishing. Hooking them in their mouth and dragging them out of the water and making them kind of suffocate to death on the side. It's because they're...
You shouldn't have that problem with dogs then, or say me eating dogs culturally.
Fine, eat a dog, Bob. I'm okay with you. You go eat a dog. All right? Are we good now?
And we've eaten... to use the premise of presidents, we've even had a president that's eaten dog.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Barack Obama. Pit bull's delicious. All right, thank you very much, Bob and Irving. Let's go to David in Waco. You're on WBAP. Mark and Alvarado, either one of you guys there?
I'm here. I'm Mark.
Okay, Mark, go ahead. You're in Alvarado. Were you busted for cockfighting?
No, but I live 2 streets over from it. The area's called the Homestead.
Cool.
It's pretty much filled with illegal Mexicans, and their culture is, yes, the cockfighting, but also to shoot guns in the air, have music so loud you can hear it 2 streets over, and the police get called out there, and it's in the county, so they can't do anything about the gunshots or the loud music because there's no city ordinances. But the cockfighting, I don't really care about that. I'll eat their chicken.
Yeah. The thing about them playing music really loud is I've lived in. Thank you very much, Mark. I've lived in neighborhoods, apartment complexes that were very Hispanic and probably a lot of illegals. It really starts to grow on you, the tuba and the accordion, and all of a sudden you start liking their music, and that's when it really becomes a problem. I wish I had more time to hang out with you, but tomorrow we're going to be doing another remote from another Kroger. We're going to be at the Kroger in Plano, Coyton 121. Come on out there for the 38th Annual Cumulus Kids Toy Drive. And coming up next, the great one, Mark Levin. I'm James Parker. This has been The James Show on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.
The James Show Podcast.